lovely, beautiful Aquarius friends, and welcome to your horoscope for 2024, where this year, Aquarius, the big ticket item is that Pluto is moving into your sign, and honey, we're going to do it for 20 years. But the better news is that you're going to just get a sneak peek of what is to come over the next 2 decades without getting the full meal deal this year. So there is time to get prepared for these big changes that are coming to you, and we're going to talk all about it. And just to really make sure that you are extra crispy prepared for 2024. You're not just going to get a forecast from me this time, but instead you're also going to get a financial, relationship, medical, and spiritual development breakdown from Wade Caves, Christopher Renstrom, Cameron Allen, and Tiffany Harlick. And the reason that this is happening is, one, we all want you to be prepared, but I wanted you to also get a forecast from people who are actually trained and really specifically spend the year focusing into these areas. So I got you some of the best and the best out there. And the goal is to really help you use and actualize your astrology for 2024, Aquarius. So also make sure that your resource toolkit is packed and loaded by getting your digital transit calendar from our friends at Wise Skies Collective. And you can click in the description box down below. Take advantage of my coupon, get a little discount, but have the transits come right to your phone so that you can really see what is going on. You can also get in contact with all of our astrologers in this video in that description box down below. All right, Aquarius, let's talk about 2024, and we'll start right here with Pluto, okay? So Pluto has been dancing between Capricorn and your sign just in 2023, and we're going to continue that dance because, like I said, Pluto is not staying for the long haul here in Aquarius in 2024. We will deal with that in 2025. But as Pluto is going to dance in this Capricorn vibration, it's still changing the tides, the last moments of changing the tides in your 12th house space. Changes to family structures, changes to spiritual structures, changes to, even bad behaviors that could have been your own undoing, illnesses that could have been your own undoing, and you were able to bring them to a next level and put some structure around them and really bring them up. Now, the other thing I think of are any projects that you have been building, developing behind the scenes. Maybe you have really loved astrology for 20 years, but you did it behind the scenes. And as Pluto moves into the vibration of Aquarius, into your sign, it is like, you turn into this thing where you're shedding this phoenix to the next set of a version of you, and your astrology can come out, your creative talent can come out, your new role in your family life comes out, whatever it is. Pluto is going to help to bring that development, but also severe, big, important, use all of those good words. Changes also to your physical body are on the agenda. Like I said, though, I think that this year you start to get the omen of what is to come for your changes over the next 20 years. So start to pay attention to what is happening to your body, to your external environment, and to the role that you're taking in your family and in your relationships, okay? Now, we're also going to see that the nodes are dancing between Aries and Libra. So as we're going to continue that work, that North Node in Aries will continue the conversation of pulling you forward towards your new ideas, the new way you communicate, new relationships with your siblings. But the basis here is very Aries. It's like, I have to own my autonomy, and I have to be the one who initiates my side of moving it forward, whether that be I see how I need to take initiative to own my part in how this relationship, this book, this class, this teaching, these lessons, this relationship have gone. And then I'm taking action to make those changes, or I need to speak up and say, here's an authoritative decision that I am making. Now, on the other side, we've got that Libra South Node that is pulling out. It's going, okay, hold on. Some things are not needed here anymore. So we need to not only pull the relationships out, but we need to pull how you're relating to these 9th house things out. So publishing, marketing, broadcasting, faith, legal things. You're getting a new and different rearrangement to how you relate there. And it is coming from the other side of the axis where you're going, here's what I think, here's what I have to say. Your communication becomes a little bit more fire, because what we're looking for is the integration of both the Libra and the Aries axes. Between your thinking and communication houses, we want proper integration. We don't want push-pull, right? We want to try and end that or make it as small as possible with that integration and that interdependence. So you'll continue to work on that. Now, Jupiter and Uranus are going to continue at the beginning of the year traveling together in the vibration of Taurus, another fixed energy like yourself. And this has been lighting up the fourth house space for you all of 2023. So Uranus and Taurus has really been bringing some differences to the family structure, to the housing structure, maybe even many repairs, electrical things happening for you in the fourth house zone. But it also, again, speaks to a change in your authority level in your family in some way. Now, Uranus will continue those changes in your 11th house space. So just know, expected the unexpected a little bit at home, which is nothing to fear, but it is stay flexible. Stay flexible. But Uranus is one of your ruling planets, so I think you know how to work with that electricity pretty well. Jupiter will move into the energy of Gemini, and this is going to start to light up your 5th house space. And I like this for you because it's like, relax. Relax. Aquarius, relax. What is your life like about relaxation? Taking it easy, some pleasure, some play, some childlike fun and faith and laughing. And where are you going to even take a risk this year to calm down a little bit and bring pleasure into your life? Now, for some of you who are like, I'm not trying to be a single Pringle anymore, definitely Jupiter moving into Gemini could be bringing things into the romance zone for you. We'll see babies and projects and adoptions also coming about with this particular energy. And I do want to say this. I tend to see in my personal practice when Jupiter is at this 4th house place, so you can look at this in your own chart. If you have Sagittarius or you've got Jupiter in your 4th or 5th house, I tend to see a strong connection with stepchildren or children that you take care of, but you didn't necessarily give birth to them. Okay, so we'll start to see some more stories and how that shows up for you in your life and your world as well. When we get to the Saturn and the Neptune in Pisces vibration, this is not new either. This is continuing to work in your money house and in your value house. So it's a bit like you've needed to get a spiritual concept around your money. And some things around money, some things around finance, I'm sure have dissolved and called in a bit more spirituality. They've also called in places where you not only had to have the discipline of money, Saturn and Pisces, where you really had to get that budget together, really understand how that investment works, really understand your funnel system, whatever it is, but it's also asked you to trust and develop your intuition around your self-worth and value, around what it is that you do to creatively make money, but also just money in general. So it's a good year to continue your spiritual development and your spiritual mindset around how you connect with the vibration of money. So I'm telling you, pick up those books. Absolutely. Use that Aries North Node in that 3rd house to pick up those books. What's your mindset around money? What do you understand about it? What is your mindset around your self-worth? What do you understand about it? And let yourself be led in a new direction, okay? Now, before we close out the year, we are going to see Mars going retrograde in the vibration of Leo. And if you think back to 2023, between June and October, when we saw Venus retrograde in Leo, between June and October, for many people, it kind of felt like, whoa. When Venus and Mars go retrograde, it's like, whoa, because we can really, really feel the changes that are happening through those personal planets. So you probably had a big reevaluation, and one of them was in your relationship zone, conscious chosen one-on-one relationships, right? Whether that be a romantic relationship, you got married, you got divorced, you decided to take something to a next level, a business partnership, your relationship with you and whatever you call a higher power. These were all really significant changes that Venus helped you revalue. Relook at what you value and how you'd like to be valued in this area. Now, as we're closing and we're getting to December and we see this Mars go retrograde here in your 7th house as well, you're going to be looking at the strategy that you're using to live that new set of value. But also, Mars gives some energy here. So in your relationship, things may get busy. Now, Mars is still Mars, so conflict is a thing, but sometimes we have to have a breakdown before we have a breakthrough. And sometimes we've been sitting on something for too too long in our relationships that it's inflamed and it has to come up and it has to come out. But if you use the Mars retrograde to channel this into something productive, whether it's staying together or coming apart or moving in a different direction, which is what Mars does, moves us in a different direction, you can actually do it in a way I think is really very productive for you, okay? All right, my beautiful Aquarian friends, I love you so much, and I look forward to walking with you every month, every week, and if you're following me on Instagram, every single day, as well as we're traveling throughout 2024. Now, make sure you also get your own natal chart, okay? Because the general is great, but I want you to see where this is happening in your personal astrology. So go to astro.com, get one for free. You can come get one from me or any of the other astrologers you'll see in this video. And then if you need some help interpreting that thing, not only does mine come with a report, but you can also head over to stormiegrace.com, where I have created my new encyclopedia of aspects, houses, placements, so that you can say, I have this in the second house, look it up, see what that means, and start to weave your story. So lots of help and resources available for you this year. Have a great year. I love you. And right now I'm going to hand you over to Wade Caves, who's going to talk to you, Aquarius, about your financial timing of 2024. Bye, my friends.
Aquarius is going to have a bit of an open year this year. There's some, an equal amount of advantageous transits and more challenging transits. And so there's just, I think, a bit more of a wider window for you to get on with life and make decisions outside of these, volatile periods. Let's start with some of the really helpful transits. Mars moves into Aries at the end of April, and that will continue until about mid-June. That sends a sextile to your natal sun or ascendant, whichever happens to be in Aquarius, usually quite a helpful thing. Jupiter moves into Gemini in May, and that casts a trine to your natal ascendant or natal sun. Jupiter is the natural significator of wealth, and so this opens up a lot of opportunity throughout the year. I also like Mars making its ingress into Gemini, so that's going to send a trine to your Aquarius placements, whether that's your sun or your ascendant degree. There's only a handful of transits that you're just going to want to be mindful of, and they all come when Mars enters into the fixed sign. So when Mars enters into your home sign of Aquarius, that can stir up a bit of restlessness. And the square that Mars will be forming to Jupiter and Taurus, that's not really terribly helpful because Jupiter is the natural significator of wealth, as I've said. So Mars being in square with Jupiter, it shows, a bit of recklessness or rashness that works against your favor. Mars in Taurus casts a square to your placements in Aquarius, and so that's a period to watch. It will continue until about mid-July. And then in November, we have Mars in Leo, and Mars will continue in Leo into the beginning of 2025. And that's in the sign opposing Aquarius. So that's usually the really sticky time. You'll notice that Mars turns retrograde in Leo in early December and will continue retrograde into the new year. So you'll just want to make sure that any big decisions that you make, you're avoiding a close contact with that retrograde Mars, since it's stationed retrograde in a sign opposing your own.
There's a fascinating thing that's going on in 2024 that has to do with both Aquarius and Pisces. I'm going to talk about Aquarius first and then talk about Pisces. But what's really interesting is that in 2024, Pluto finally enters Aquarius, all right? It entered Aquarius in March of 2023, and it was there until maybe roughly about mid-June of 2023 before it retrograded back down into Capricorn again. And so here we have this kind of delayed beginning of Pluto entering Aquarius, and Pluto finally enters Aquarius on January 20th. What's also going on that's interesting is that just as Pluto has been sort of like lingering in its entrance into Aquarius, for people born under Pisces, Neptune is going to sort of hang out at 29 degrees Pisces. Okay, so there's going to be this feeling with people born under Pisces that things are coming to a close, but not a substantial close. It's kind of a feeling of like, I kind of feel like I'm concluding something, and then it just sort of like hangs out there, which is Neptune anyway, but Neptune does it at the 29th degree, which, as we all know in astrology, is a critical and crucial degree. But I'll talk about Pisces in a moment. I really want to talk about Aquarius. Pluto entering Aquarius. There's been a lot of talk about what Pluto entering Aquarius is going to be like, and I'm sure that there are all sorts of things that one can watch and read on the subject. But Pluto entering Aquarius is going to feel, and you've got just a touch of this in 2023, you're going to start to feel very subtly, very slowly. Actually, this feeling's been building for about a year. Pluto in Aquarius, that nobody gets you. Now, some people could say, well, isn't that what Aquarians feel anyway? You know, they're constantly misunderstood, and they constantly feel like people don't really get them. And that's true. There is a sort of ahead of their time quality that's sewn into the psyche of Aquarius, and it can play out in various and different ways in all kinds of relationships. But there's never been a sense of really being alone and apart. Aquarius is an air sign, so it can be very social, and it really looks to its friends and acquaintances and business associations and neighbors, you know, for that sort of day-to-day stimulation, conversation, and socialization. But as Pluto really enters your sign, and it enters on January 20th and really makes its presence known, there's going to be this feeling that nobody gets me. My spouse doesn't get me. My best friend doesn't get me. The people I work closely with don't get me. And again, this feeling has been building, but now it's really going to be very conscious. And it's going to leave Aquarians feeling like, what do I do with that? Do I masquerade? You know, do I pretend like everything's fine and typical, and we carry on as is, meanwhile feeling this aloneness? Or do I talk about it? What I would counsel as an astrologer is that you talk about it. Yes, you're going to have a number of people say, oh, you always say that, or oh, you always feel apart, or maybe they'll even cheer you up, like you're just as social as ever, and you're so popular, and you know, well, Betty gets you, and Steve's your best friend. Steve's always gotten you. You know, you may have all these reassurances, but what I would really encourage with Aquarius is to talk about what's going on internally with the people in your life, and sort of gently guide them back to the feeling that you're feeling a kind of a disconnect, and you're not looking for reassurance. You kind of feel like it might be going on because something's changing in your life. Now, your intimates will be like, well, what's changing? You know, they always get like that. What's changing? Are your affections changing? You know, but it's more this kind of feeling like I'm entering into a new chapter of my life, and I don't really know what it is. And that's where I want that to hang out with you, Aquarius, of just like, I'm entering a new chapter of my life, and I don't really know what that is, and I don't really know what that means. And the people who are close to you, that you feel don't really get you, will get that, you know, and they've been friends with you or in a relationship with you long enough to know that when you say these sorts of things, and they can be a little cryptic, they're also prescient. There's also a sort of prophetic quality about it as well. And so what you can do is that you can actually carry them with you on this journey. Now, what's changing in you? You know, what, okay, you feel an apartness, you know, you feel like people don't really get you. Pluto in your sign really connects you to a deep generative, transformative power in your life. Now, a lot of people like to talk about transformation as like, you know, I used to be a brunette and now I'm a blonde, I'm transformed. Okay, it's not that. You know, when these changes take place on a very deep level, and they always are on a deep level when we're talking about Pluto, I want you to think of a seed sprouting, or a seed beginning to send out roots, and then it comes up through the ground and it sprouts. This is what's going on with Pluto. Pluto is associated to the underworld, everything that takes place or lives underground. And so it rules over things like corpses and riches like gold and silver and precious metals. They come from beneath the earth, but it also rules over seeds. And so when we have a Pluto experience in our side, and it's almost like our seed self, a deep part of ourself is beginning to emerge. It's not going to be overnight. It's not going to be in this year. It's not even going to be fully understood like in the next few years, but it's taking place. And the best way to work with that energy is to honor it. And being an air sign, of course, you're going to share it with the people who are around you. Now you have a big change taking place. Perhaps it looks like it may be in your home life on April 20th, when Jupiter conjoins Uranus in Taurus. This is on the eve of Jupiter entering Gemini. And this may be a change in your home life, a change in the makeup of your home life. It may be a move, a sale, or a purchase of property. It may be, a sudden feud that takes place with family members that you grew up with. Or it might be difficulty that's going on with a partner or partner's family during this period of time. So look for a substantial change taking place in your home life around April 20th. On May 2nd, Pluto turns retrograde in Aquarius. So that feeling of like, nobody gets me will subside because now Pluto's retrograde. And so it will be like, oh, maybe that was a weird thing or something like that, And then at that point, Jupiter enters Gemini. And this is going to be wonderful because Jupiter coming into Gemini is going to bring a lot of new friends, a lot of new acquaintances, a lot of fresh faces into your life. And of course, you might be like, well, maybe they get me, they may not, but at least you'll have like a fresh batch of faces to sort of maybe share these thoughts and ideas with. And they may not have the investment that old friends and old loved ones do in you staying you, and so they might be more like, well, I just got to know you and whatever, but, go for it, let's explore your new and remarkable self, that's coming out. So there may be a lot of support that's going on, or there might be changes in your career in which maybe you're transferred to another division or something opens up or you make a change and there's new faces. And it's a sense that you get to sort of test drive different aspects of yourself that you haven't been able to introduce before, because people who know you have been like, oh, leading you back to what's familiar. This is the thing that can be difficult about going through these Plutonian changes with loved ones and with friends, is because they have a lot invested in you staying who you are to them, staying familiar. And so they may support changes, but then meanwhile lead you back to the old you. And so with Jupiter and Gemini, this might introduce new people, new acquaintances who really don't have anything invested like that and are ready to support a new you. Pluto will re-enter Capricorn on September 1st, and it's there until October 11th. So this will be a bit of a feeling of a regression, of you maybe going back to an old you, like, oh, maybe that, and so you're going back to an old you. But it just dips its toe back into Capricorn, and Pluto moves forward into Aquarius again. And it may be this feeling of like, it's kind of almost like someone who quit cigarettes or something. They're like, oh, I'm going to just have this one cigarette. And they're like, ew, ugh, I don't like that, and so they put that cigarette away or whatever. It would be like that. It's like, that old me doesn't fit. I'm committed to a new me, And so this is Pluto re-entering Aquarius on November 19th. What's going to be interesting is you end the year with Mars entering Leo, which is your partner sign, your opposite sign, on November 3rd. And so this is going to bring up, Mars is always about conflicts and difficulties. And so this is going to bring up conflicts or difficulties with your nearest and your dearest. And as you can tell, this is going to feed on that theme of nobody really gets me, and so Mars will be retrograde in Leo from December 6th until February 24th. It's a nice chunk of time, and this will be a lot about maybe you shutting out old friends or familiar loves, because you really don't feel like they're getting you, or it may be them, really invested in you coming back to the new you. Like what was a subtle feeling underneath with Pluto retrograding back into Capricorn, dipping a toe and moving forward, now comes out into the open. And it's going to be hard because you're going to feel conflicted and you're not going to be able to articulate it. Okay. And so what I would say is be sympathetic with yourself and be sympathetic with a loved one who's really trying to understand you. It's kind of hard to understand, or what do you do with someone who feels restless and just like things aren't clicking, but then they can't articulate it at the same time. So have a little sympathy for the people who know you well, who are just kind of like, I want to help you with this unrest, but I don't really understand it. But have a lot of sympathy for yourself as well. What's really going on is that you're stepping into a stronger sense of centeredness in your life, being more of an authority in your life. Aquarians are often in positions of authority in their life, but they have a tendency to do it by consensus, working with other people's needs and wants and priorities, etc. And this is a period with Pluto at the beginning stages of Aquarius where it puts the emphasis on you. And you might not have thought about you in a very long time. And the you that you're looking at in the mirror may not bear a familiar resemblance to what you're used to, because this is a new you. The Pluto is bringing out a new you. And so you have to make room for that. And that can be a little awkward and strange in relationships and associations. Sometimes it means the end of friendships or associations, but it can also be extraordinarily powerful if you invite people to travel along with you down this new and unexplored road.
Hey everybody, and welcome to your 2024 medical astrology forecast for Aquarius rising. And you know what, Aquarius risings, you out of everyone are the ones who I had to search for something that was really highlighted for you. And to me, I was trying to make something happen there. And so I just noticed that what I really would like to do here for you this year is to give you something to think about and feel into, because it's having to do with your health overall throughout your life. And so one thing you want to be mindful of with Aquarius rising is that Aquarius can rule the energetic field that one has. Yeah. So the overall nervous system and also EMF, right? We know that Aquarius can be very sensitive to technology. And so with that, we want to be mindful as Pluto is kind of going back and forth between your 12th house and your first house, that you really pay attention and you're really mindful about your relationship with technology, and know that you're not just being influenced by EMF outside of yourself. You actually have EMF. You have an electromagnetic field. And so to be able to make sure your nervous system is strong is really helpful. One herb that is my favorite, most epic herb for Aquarius risings, as a generalization, of course, is the herb GOTUCOLA. I recommend it all the time. And if you've heard me somewhere before, I probably talked about GOTUCOLA for Aquarius, and I'll talk about it this time, and I'll talk about it in 5 years, and I'll talk about it in 10 years, because I just love that plant so much. So just being mindful of that, your relationship with technology. When you're on your phone, is your neck down? Because if your neck is down, that's stopping the flow of energy going through your spine, which is in opposition with Leo. Yeah. So be mindful of things like that. Very small intricacies. Also with Aquarius risings, we have a tendency towards receiving a genius amount of information, or having this very high-minded perspective. However, that can lead to us working in our genius mode, in our mad scientist mode, and we're up at 2 a.m. in the morning, and we just had this amazing idea. And then 2 weeks later, we feel kind of we're burnt out and we're tired. And we really need to pay attention to that, because Aquarius is the only sign out of all the signs of the zodiac that has the ruler of the first house also ruling the 12th house, which can lead to issues through time just by us being us and not focusing on and being diligent about our need for isolation. Yeah. The 12th house also oftentimes represents isolation. So if you don't allow yourself to have some type of isolation, that could end up being your own self undoing. So you want to be mindful of that with Aquarius rising. Also, something that I find that's like, this is one of the things that would be like close to universally applicable for a rising sign is Aquarius in the herb rosemary, because oftentimes Aquarius can get cold hands and feet, and so it also, rosemary brings circulation to the brain, and we know, being a fixed air sign, there's a lot of information going on up there. So just be mindful of that. And again, there was things that I was looking at, and there was things here and there having to do with what's coming up this year for you. But I felt like just giving you some perspective on things that you probably already know, but hearing it reflected from someone else will give you the permission to really take care of yourself in the robust way that you really need to. So have a blessed 2024, and I'll see you all next year.
Hey Aquarius, it's Tiffany Harlick, and I am here to give you a spiritual astrology forecast for 2024. So if you have an Aquarius sun, moon, or rising, or you're watching for an Aquarius that you love and admire and adore, you're in the right place. So this is my jam. And before we get going, my promise to you is to provide clear, concise, and accurate information in a way that you can understand. And your promise to me is to not use that information against yourself, to follow your heart, to follow your free will, to follow your direction. For you, Aquarius, your spiritual opportunity is with foreign aid or humanitarian efforts. This is different than every other forecast I offered. It's a little bit curious to me, but this is what I got when I was working with spirit and on your charts. So I know that there's going to be some discoveries you make by being a nomad, by studying different cultures, studying people from a different walk of life, and looking for opportunities where you can help. Education and travel is a platform for you in 2024, and learning will help ground you. There is a reconciliation of global issues going on that your part of your soul wants to take on at some level at some point in 2024. So if that's news to you, welcome, and let's see how it unfolds over the year. Maybe you want an accountability buddy when it comes to these topics, and I'm just offering these mantras to you, Aquarius. I'm a child of the universe, and I dare to embrace the full journey. It feels good to learn and explore this precious world. I enjoy talking about things that matter. Your ruling planet is Saturn, and so Saturn will give us some really good basic information about how you will be navigating the spiritual waters of 2024. I want you to rise to the occasion of your inner Saturn by asking yourself this: what rules am I going to stop using against myself and everybody else? Where can I be a little more open-minded? In terms of foreign aid or humanitarian efforts, we're going to break your year down into 4 quarters. The first one will be about accessing wise counsel. The second one will be about transmission of information. The third one will be about relationships. And the fourth one will be about the alliances that you're making this year. So as we shift into this first quarter of wise counsel, there we go. In January, we are in a 9-month in the numerology, and this is about integration and assimilation and completion. Something's coming full circle, and the planets are aspected positively to your Saturn. So you're going to have it easier in some capacity than the other signs. There's more flow available to you. In February, we're in a 1-month in the numerology, and this is about focus and hyper-focus. So be careful not to alienate yourself or to ask for space if you need time to focus. There's very auspicious moment here around February 28th, when Mercury and Saturn will both be in the heart of the sun in Pisces. And so this is when you're going to get downloads, intuitive hits, information from spirit. So pay attention to what nudges you get. These can come in many ways. They can come from a song on the radio as you're driving. It can come from looking up and seeing something in the clouds that reminds you of something. These can come by flipping through a book and getting a passage that just nails it and hits a message for you personally. In March, the numerology shifts to a 2, and this is about relationships. The relationship we have with the physical and the metaphysical, the natural and the supernatural. In middle of March, Venus will start to conjunct Saturn, which means it travels right next to it. And sometimes we can need to say goodbye or let go of some things. Sometimes things that used to bring us pleasure don't anymore. And we need some time to unplug and reassess, to get out of the mix of somebody else's energy or the energy of the masses, and just have a little quiet reset. People are in our lives for a reason and a season, and we can't ascertain that if we're bombarded all the time. So a little unplug would be helpful for you in March, especially as you're going into this eclipse season. So the first eclipse of 2024 is March 25th. It's happening in your 9th house of travel, of spiritual journeys, of pilgrimages, of other cultures. And here are the eclipse support themes for you that you're going to see 3 times this year. This is a sacred reunification with your inner knower. The universe is not withholding information from you. You have access to all of the answers right inside yourself. This is a year to know that, to really embrace that. And so I invite you to grab a screenshot and see if any of these themes work for you. I encourage you to start a new playlist. I encourage everybody to start a new playlist at some point throughout the year. And for this one, I want it to be something that helps put you in Bhav, in the mood of devotion, in the mood of creativity. In terms of stewardship, I want you to research some ideas, concepts, groups, things that you're pulled towards in terms of humanitarian aid. And an activity you can do is to create your council of elders. This could be your aunt or an angel or a spirit guide or a celebrity that you really admire. They can be living or dead. The idea is that you're bringing together this tribe of light, this council of beings, and you're asking for access to information and insights. And you're going to write a question with your dominant hand and then allow an answer to come through your non-dominant hand, and practice this soul writing in communion with your council of elders. All right, there's a book recommendation for you. As we look at the second quarter, this is about transmission of information. Again, the universe won't withhold any information from you. You have access to know what you need to know when you need to know it. April is the biggest month for astrology in 2024. April is a 3-month. We're seeking connection. We're seeking a way to be with people. Now, the Mercury retrograde and the April 8th eclipse will fall in your 3rd house. This access, this 3rd and 9th access of information and transmission of data and ideas and information exchange and learning things, and the student-teacher alignment and the elementary school versus the university. These are going to be top of mind. And on April 20th, the Jupiter-Uranus conjunction is happening in your 4th house of home and family. So there can be windfalls, there can be sudden change, things can happen in your favor. Jupiter expands and is benevolent, and Uranus makes things happen quickly with aha moments. It's brilliant, right? In May, the numerology is about being steady, still surfer. While the waves of life are going all around you, it is your job to just be centered and neutral. And the planets are aspecting your ruling planet well. So things are going to work out. Things are going to be okay. If April was really intense, it's all right. May, it's going to work out. Things are going to sort out well for you. Jupiter is going to then trine Pluto, and all of us are being asked to take a leap of faith, to let go of what we know and trust in the unseen world. You might feel distracted. There's a 5 in the numerology where we feel pulled too thin. Venus, the Sun, and Mercury square your ruling planet. So there can be that agitation of challenges and things feeling like more obstacles and red lights than green lights. Now, as Saturn retrogrades through Pisces, it's always retrograde for that longer period of time. This is totally normal. Saturn helps us focus on what we need to be disciplined in. And when it's retrograde, it acts like a mini Jupiter. It gives us some luck, some benevolence, some kindness, right? And so there's some kindness available for you in the Pisces themes, in your heart of hearts, right? In your spiritual, compassionate side. Your self-development. I'm inviting everybody this year to check out the Ho'oponopono prayer, to go back, read the research, read the history, read what's worked for people over time. It's beautiful and impactful and simple, and you use it inwardly, and it goes like this, right? I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. Right? If all of our astrology friends were doing this, what a world we would create in 2024. Your stewardship here is to really look at the feng shui of the soul, to see what feels twisted and off and misplaced and in the wrong color, and to repaint it, okay? Your spiritual activity is to research your ancestry, your family tree, and your roots. I think everybody should do this at some point throughout 2024, and I think this is your moment. I want you to check out the book Metaphysical Anatomy. This is by Yvette Rose, and I think it's one of the best books I've seen on physical health in the metaphysical world. So if your body is talking to you, it is accessing something on an emotional and spiritual plane that she brings so much light and awareness to. So I think it's fascinating. In Q3, we're going to focus on your relationships, your heart of hearts, the soul connections that you came here to make, to be with. In July, this is a 6-month. This is about nesting. This is very Queen of Pentacles, responsible, way to relax at home. Venus, Mars, and the Sun are in a positive aspect to your ruling planet. I know that it's going to feel good to make some commitments, to get stabilized, and just to rest. In August, it's also a little bit more internal. The 7-month is about understanding the deep whys of the universe. Why are we here, right? And the Mercury retrograde cycle will go from your 8th to 7th houses. So 7th and 8th houses activate your relationships, right? Your theme here. And the difference that Stephen Forrest teaches between the 7th and the 8th house, the 7th house is kind of like your best friend comes in and says, I'm moving overseas. And you're like, oh, okay, like you're happy for them, but you're sad, and you're happy and you're sad, but there's a levity to it. When the 8th house comes in, it's like your lover coming in and saying, I'm moving overseas. You are gut punched, you're wrecked. Your life is pivoted, right? Without anything that you've done. So this is the difference between the 7th and the 8th house. So looking at your soul contracts, looking at your sweet and deep relationships, and learning something about yourself in this lens. There will be some growing pains here. Jupiter in the sky that rules our biggest human desires, the things that we want to experience the most out of this life, is in a challenging position to our Saturn. Saturn in the sky shows us our responsibilities, our duties, the things we have to do, challenging by the things we want to do. There's an inner tension going on. It's not super balanced. And this will come back around in December, right? When Saturn goes direct. So in September, we've got an 8 energy. So this is a reminder that energy cannot be created or destroyed. There is an afterlife. Your soul lives on. Stay open-minded to the spiritual connections that are being made in September. On the 18th, the eclipse will fall in your 2nd house of values. So this eclipse is not like the other ones. This is in a different axis for you. I want you to leave space for grace, room for obstacles and delays, room for cosmic reroutes, and study your 2nd house issues around money, spiritual money, the energy of money. Your worth is not your self-worth, how you find value in the world. These are the themes that would support that. Now, in terms of your self-development activities, I want you to consider the Silva method. Jose Silva was born in El Paso. I really love his technique and his strategy. It's a way to access higher states of mind and higher states of consciousness, help you use your spiritual vision to co-create the life of your dreams, your dream life. Now, if you're just using this to manifest something for yourself, he says it's not going to work, that you have to also employ the strategies and techniques in a way that uplifts humanity. And this is how your human aid might play out, just with your spiritual vision. A stewardship, because we have this 2nd house access going on and activated, I want you to check in with your tithing. What are you giving back financially? And is it a responsible amount? Are you over giving? Are you not giving anything at all? Is there something that you'd like to ask yourself about in this capacity? And in terms of an activity, I want you to list 5 of your favorite cultures, places, countries, people that inspire you, that you want to learn more about, and list those qualities that you just really love about them. And I want you to keep these qualities posted where you can see them. And I want you to take these qualities and notice, are there any attributes that you want to embody this season? There's a book recommendation for you. And as we go into your fourth quarter, Aquarius, the reason we're thinking about culture has to do with October. We've got an eclipse in your ninth house, activating that inner knower, that information, that universal data, right? So maybe you're learning how to access the Akashic records. Maybe you're learning how to see things from another point of view. Maybe your belief system is changing. Maybe you're going from Buddhist to Catholic to Hindu to who knows what you're doing, but you're bouncing around some ideas so that you can come in alignment with what's going to work for you and your higher power, right? And you're staying committed to this spiritual walk. You're staying committed to this path. You're finding alliances. In November, the energy shifts to a 1, that hyper-focused energy. You might be able to use this energy to create some kind of vision board, use the Silva method, use your meditation, use your supernatural powers to create and co-create the life of your dreams. Now, Mercury will retrograde at the end of the month in your 11th house of friends and alliances, right? The people that we share life with, that we're in network with, that we're in communion with. And so what can you learn from these people? Where do you want to go with these people? What editing needs to be done in your friend groups? In December, this is a 2-month in the numerology. This is that relationship between the physical and the metaphysical, the seen and the unseen, the relationships we have with each other. And this is very fitting because your astrology, Mars will go through the 7th house of relationships and the 6th house of health, right? And so again, as Jupiter squares Saturn, just like it did back on August 19th, here at the end of the year, those growing pains are going to be visible. The lessons will have come to fruition. You'll be more aware of something that you weren't aware of or couldn't see before. And this is a reminder that the universe has your back, that things are working in your favor. Because of this placement with your 6th house, I invite you to create a spiritual healers list. For me, it's very grandiose because I love this topic, but you could pull from this and play from this and come up with some people, places, and things that will help you stay on your path of health, wellness, vitality. And as your physical body is healing and improving, it also increases a connection to your own inner divinity, right? So some meditation, you could do the breath work of the box breath. This is an easy one for us all to access at different points of the year. You inhale for 4 counts, you pause for 4 counts, you exhale for 4 counts, you pause for 4 counts. And you do this box breath anytime you're agitated, discontent, irritable, upset, and it will calm you down, bring you back, regulate your nervous system. In terms of your stewardship and your physical health, your body is your temple. Do you believe that? What does that mean? What does it look like to be a good steward of this body? And why would you want to do that? These are questions for you to explore and answer how you want to do that. And I want you to reflect on your role in friendships. What kind of friend are you? What's it like to be on the other side of you? And I want to recommend the book Becoming Supernatural by Dr. Joe Dispenza. I prefer the Audible book because I like to listen to the meditation while I'm walking. But yeah, there's the physical book too. I have one more slide for you, Aquarius. Before we get there, I want to make sure you know where you can find me. I'm Tiffany Harlick. You can see my blog, podcast, YouTube, and resources there at tiffanyharlick.com. You'll find some stuff about beekeeping and astrology. If you like to work with me one-on-one or at retreats, awesome. If you want my Friday newsletter that goes out to give you the weekend forecast, awesome. There's some outside resources, and my favorite best-selling product is the digital astrology calendar. So please use the code Stormie 2024 to get $10 off this year. It is my pleasure and honor to write this, and it goes with you in any time zone, and it is offered in 6 languages this year. And what it does is it lists all of the planetary transits, aspects, the lunations, the moon family cycles, right, the retrograde cycles. And so you click on the description and you can title and you can see a big description. So you can learn astrology throughout the year if you want, or you can just look at the emojis and get a vibe for the day, but it helps you let the universe have your back. It helps you understand the cosmic influences. If you'd like to become certified in astrology, I'm teaching at the Lisa Williams International School for Spiritual Development, and I'm offering free classes through my membership. So before we go, Aquarius, just know this: you're here for a good time, not a long time. Enjoy the ride. Look out and enjoy this precious human life, and find meaning in the little things. It's the small things that matter. You're here to know yourself. You're here to love yourself. You're here to follow your intuition. I hope this has been useful and fun for you. It is my honor to serve in this capacity. Thank you for this opportunity. And until we can work together again, guys, namaste.